Good afternoon. Hey, Ilze.
Hey Mara, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Yeah. Today we felt like talking about death.
Yeah.
It's a such a large topic, and we are heading towards the winter solstice and the darker phase of the year. And from yesterday's conversation talking about creating and art and open space, um, we had a sense that death might be interesting to go into today because there's that sense of creation, destruction, and when there's a being inside of the space that you get to grow and create from. We felt it would be interesting to go here today. So, Ilse, you had been telling me you feel like the sense of it is a little bit more present with you these days. Do you want to tell us more about that?
Yeah, it's not really that it's present just these days. As long as I remember, I think that it's been present
Mm-hmm.
in a strange way, difficult to explain in words. But of course, I have as I grew as a person, not just in size. um, I, of course, I have gone through all kinds of feelings caused by death or somebody, or the thoughts about death, or um, any. Yeah, there's been a lot, and I am at the stage right now where I take it quite calmly. It's also in my manifesto because I truly um, feel that everything is energy and it just changes states. However, I would like to accomplish more and contribute to this world more before I change this state. So,
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting that humans, and I mean, well, we believe we're the only species that has a sense of our own death. We don't really know if that's true. We don't know what animals do, what they're aware of or not in terms of death and life. But when we consider that at a certain point in our lives, we suddenly become aware that we won't be here anymore. And then that stays with us our whole life. And as we grow and age, I guess our relationship to that grows and changes with us. So it is interesting. We either try to deny that it'll happen
yes.
or we embrace that it might, but it does almost feel like this pressure, if you will, to live your best life or do the most you can or contribute the most. Um, and just as you said it, I was wondering, and it came to me as this sense of pressure. I wonder if that's how healthy that is, the way that we look at it in that way, as like time is nearing its end. So I've got to kind of get everything out there. It's probably both has pros and cons to it.
um, I wouldn't say that I feel pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said, I have a rather calm feeling about it at this stage of my life. It somewhat shifted, not just somewhat shifted, but shifted to quite a degree, if you can say so, when I experienced the life and the death of my dog. Mm. And I have had several dogs in my life, but the last dog that I had really felt like she was my coach.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Throughout all her life.
Mm.
She was, and when she passed, and I'm getting emotional about that, although I am in peace. But when she passed, for a while, I was just sitting, and I had this urge to to create an artwork in clay because I just wanted to feel something and touch with my hands.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have those feelings where or thoughts that the life has no purpose, or, and for a moment I had that because she was gone, but then I realized that no, she just changed her state.
Mm-hmm.
And what she had to give me, she had given it to me, and it's within me.
Yeah.
We merge. That's how I feel.
Yes. Yes. There is it's such a beautiful way to look at it. I had just recently heard it put this way by a spiritual teacher I listened to. His name is Matt Kahn, but he talks about the sense that when things disappear out of our lives, either just through any type of circumstance, but death included, it means we have learned so much and gotten so much from it that it is now merged inside of us. And so that's why it appears gone.
Yeah.
Because
And actually it's complete, or when it doesn't feel complete, when somebody young passes suddenly, or maybe not just young, but you're thinking it's not the time yet, then it's traumatizing. Yeah. But because it takes more time to process it, it's almost like for a body, it is if you you have never practiced splits, and one day you decided to go full splits, it would be painful, but you can do it if you practice gradually.
Yeah, it's true. There's so many lessons in the leaving of things from us, and that sense of, right, was it ready? Was it sudden? Were we able to really process it so we were at peace when it happened, or did it feel like a something being ripped from us?
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many lessons in what love is. My take on it is death teaches us about a deeper level of what love is.
Yeah.
And how we love, and how we feel loved on earth. And so processing all the different ways we can experience loss and allowing ourselves, because I feel like there's a sense that you should have a set period of time. At least there's in America, and I think much of Western culture, it's kind of like, okay, you're sad for a little bit and then you get over it. There's not really a space where we're taught how to grieve and feel the depth of loss, and let that be part of how we're processing and healing and understanding love.
Well, there's just so much in what you said. It's difficult to even absorb it. I'll have to watch it through again and process it all. But one of those things that you said, it's related to how much we feel loved. Is that what you said? Or how we
feel, how we understand love, and how much we feel loved. If we're still feeling, because I feel like everyone goes back and forth along our journey of where you're in that space of knowing you are the source of your love, but then we go back and forth, but then really wanting to feel it outside of ourselves at the same time. And so that sense of it being outside of ourselves.
Yeah, because we do have egos. Every single human does. They're not like 100% spiritual. No, nobody is, right? I believe. And that makes me think about going into the direction of all kinds of thoughts that relate with taking people taking their own life. And I don't think it's always how much we feel loved. It's sometimes But sometimes I believe people could be in a lot of physical pain
Oh,
or emotional pain would be probably related to how much we feel loved, but physical pain. And I often think, uh, why are we not allowed to choose to not suffer physically?
mhm. Yeah, it's a great taboo to
Mhm.
have that much self agency
Yeah,
to
yeah,
allow us the choice. Uh,
yeah. I I have two children, as you know. I mean, I had two children. Now they both are adults, but
mm,
I gave birth to them, and both times it was in Latvia, and we didn't have any, anesthesia. I didn't have any anesthesia or anything. And first time was very, very difficult,
mhm.
very hard, and I even thought that no, never again. And then after quite a few years, I wanted another child, and I prepared differently. Also, information that we had around, we had a lot more information than when my first son was born. So the second time was awesome, I would say.
Mm.
uh, Birth giving can never be like totally painless, but it was. I was able to um, be in a meditative state.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I remember it as the most beautiful experience
Mm.
that I have ever had, and the deepest, one of the deepest meditations, maybe not the deepest, but one of. My second son was born in water.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, and with the death, we only have one chance, one shot.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I feel that I want to be prepared.
Hmm.
And if it will be that way, my wish would be to get into a meditative state.
Yeah. 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 I recently did, I don't know why you speaking of this made me think about this, but I recently did some work with a group of women, um, where we explored what our leader of that group, called the death realm.
Mhm.
And we explored what we considered past lives. We were calling them past lives. I have different thoughts about what past lives are, whether it was a true incarnation or whether it's just like elemental memory, DNA memory. Um,
Yes. Mhm.
yeah, that and when you're going through a certain situation in your life, if you feel called to explore your body memories or your past lives, it's a set of information you need at that moment in time to learn and to grow. Or it could actually have been past incarnations. I don't know. uh, but in any case, we were exploring these body memories and learning what we needed to learn from specifically exploring our own deaths in many different ways. We may have possibly already died,
Mhm.
or just this earth memory, because everything that ever existed before us is still here in that sense of the energy never gets destroyed.
Yes.
And so we were doing a lot of deep meditative work and act, actively visualizing and physically experiencing senses of death to get into this place of that once you surpass the fear, there's this place of magic, of creation, of um, either a new life or a new state of being, or that transference of energy, and releasing lots of stuck energy being held
Oh
in
yeah.
bodies.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And letting it sort of go, letting that sort of be a space where we could release what we were having trouble releasing for unconscious reasons.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so, yeah, there was a lot about practicing being meditative because you have to cross a threshold that's pretty terrifying because it's the unknown. And so, that sense of really just being deeply meditative and trusting
Hmm.
what we were doing. You know, we weren't actually dying, of course. It will be, who knows what it will really be at a real, you know, when I really come to that place. But this exploration I found was fascinating and a type of being prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Also meditation. Yeah. And unconscious mind, and if whatever you call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also sometimes thinking about causing death,
Mm,
causing someone's death, and about military people
hmm.
who serve to protect other people, and just also about things that happen in our country. And if I were in a situation where I had to protect somebody, how it would feel if I caused someone's death.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I did cause my dog's death, but I thought it was in the perfect timing. I think I just felt it right. And it was actually the most beautiful death. I like something that I would be my death like.
Mm,
Um, she she would typically at that time she would typically want dinner, and she would get up and look for dinner. But on that day, she wanted dinner earlier, and when the doctor came to our house, she was sleeping. She didn't even react. She was sleeping, and I held her, and her nose was here,
mm,
and you know how sensitive the skin here is.
yeah.
So she was breathing, and
Mm,
then she wasn't at one
mm,
point. If I could choose something like that to rely on someone,
right.
if and feel like totally trusting,
Hmm.
I think that would be beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel that's a universal desire to be held
Yes. Yeah.
as we go and be surrounded by love.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's almost a sense of, I remember when my aunt was passing, I didn't get to witness her pass, but I was with her in some of her last few days. She was very worried about her daughters being cared for after she passed. And there were some legal things she was still taking care of in terms of them receiving her inheritance for them. And once it was all taken care of, I think she was told, you know, your daughters will be your daughters are will be fine, and the family will love them, and they'll receive what you wanted them to receive. And she had people around her that loved her. But there was also this sense of she could let go because she knew what she wanted to complete before her death had been completed. And
Yeah.
so prior to that, she had been expressing a lot of fear about dying, like, don't leave me, you know, please be with me while I'm going. But
Yeah.
that sort of fear around that, of thinking she might be alone, seemed to ease the more she realized what she needed to do had gotten done.
Yeah.
And then there was like almost a realizing that people were around her that loved her as she left. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was an interesting kind of her love for her daughters almost being a mirror. I don't know if this is true, but this is how it's coming to me right now. Making sure her daughters were loved helped her feel loved enough to be at peace as she went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mara, for this conversation. I think.
Yeah. There's so much in.
Yes.
We barely touched on anything today, but that's okay. It's such a deep topic and so
Yeah.
many different experiences. Everyone has their own individual way they feel and relate to it.
Yeah.
So these were just some of ours today.
Yes, indeed. Only some.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Tomorrow is the last day.
Yeah.
We'll summarize.
Yeah.
Yeah. Join us for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.